Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, people. Hello and welcome to Footy Judgment. Welcome to your Rational League today. Of course, Amorim is announced today. I don't know if he's going to take off. That you're smiling, Dan. We're going to hear your voice in a bit. But big up everybody that is here. We blame Dan for this being late a little bit because he has a voice changer. And I'm not sure if he fixed it or not. But it's actually funny. But listen, it's going to be a fantastic show. Arsenal travel to Newcastle in a must-win game to keep in touch. With lots of injuries, now Ben White is even a doubt for the game, as Arteta said. Calafiori is out, Martin Odegaard is out, Gabriel is still waiting to train. Of course, Manchester City with the biggest injury crisis since Pep Guardiola took over, and it reminded me of the season when they lost the league to Liverpool with only 10 senior players available for the game against Bournemouth away, a game against a team that Arsenal lost to a week ago, if I'm not mistaken, in the Premier League with the red card, 2 weeks ago in the red card. And also, Manchester United fans are alive. That's why we have Staffy here to preview the Chelsea game, of course. Man United fans are so confident that they're going to slap Chelsea at home at Old Trafford with rude ball. As Said said after rude ball, there is no Ten Haram ball, there is no Ten Hag ball. They're so confident they're back. We'll see what people say. And of course, Liverpool will smash Brighton at home. We all know that. And Liverpool going to be all right. Tom Little is late. He's going to be joining. Talk then now. Can we know how you're muted?
No sound is still
Not working.
Unreal, this.
And that's why we were late, beautiful
Perfect.
people in the chat. That's why we were late.
Yeah, perfect.
It's not perfect, then. It's not. Go listen to the video on YouTube, then. Just go to YouTube and listen to yourself. No, this is crazy. With
How can you not know you've got a voice filter on?
yourself
I don't
like
get
this,
it.
bro. That's fucking crazy.
Don't make me put mine on. I'll do it.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
Todd Bailey's latest chipmunk.
Anyway, listen. Before we go on, guys, all these guys' channels are in the description. Rory Talks Football, of course, Nobbins, Staffy, Dan, Tom Little in the description, people. We got 200 people in the house. We just starting the show. Hit that like button, people. And if you're watching this in the replay, like the video, people. Like the video, subscribe. I'm on the way to 30K. Hopefully we'll get to 27K by the weekend or something like this. Hit that like button, people. Subscribe to the channel, of course. Issues with figures dropping down from 50 to 0 should still, whatever. I don't know what that means. Where do we start? Do we start with Man City's injury crisis?
Can do.
Hey, you're the
if you
host.
want.
You pick.
It's a good
No, it
point.
doesn't
Is it a
matter.
crisis? Is it a crisis?
It's definitely a crisis. Nobbins, can you tell him who's fit for Bournemouth?
To be fair, I don't actually know what the situation is fully because I know Akanji got injured in the warm-up against Spurs, but he might be ready for the game. So I don't know if he counts. I hope he doesn't. But in terms of like confirmed injuries, so players who are almost definitely missing Bournemouth and probably Brighton as well, I think, which are like, and therefore Sporting, basically all the games before the international break. I know that there's not going to be any winger. I was going to list. We don't have any wingers. There's no Savio. There's no Bob. There's no Grealish. There's no Doku. There's no De Bruyne. There's no Rodri. There might not be an Akanji. There's also I don't know what.
And Gavardiol are injured.
I don't know the severity of like the Gavardiol ones, but again,
Walker is injured as well.
Yeah. You noticed I didn't even. But to be fair, I guess maybe I should listen because.
Well, if Arsenal fans talk about Tomiyasu being injured, so Man City can talk about Walker being injured. Walker is more useful to Man City than if Ake and Gavardiol are injured and Walker is injured. You literally have Akanji, Diaz, Stones, and the kid Rico Lewis, which is Akanji is not even confirmed. So you don't have, but actually, you don't have 11 first teamers available for the game.
They do. Even if all of those players are unavailable, I did this yesterday. They could add Ederson in goal, Rico Lewis at right back, Stones, Diaz, Ake.
Then Ake's injured. Ake limped. Yeah, he limped off.
I haven't seen that confirmed. I don't know if that's true.
I don't think he's injured. But even if he is, I think Guardiola's not. One of Guardiola or Ake will probably play. Then you've got Gundogan, Kovacic, Bernardo Silva in midfield.
Foden, Matthias, Rodri. And
yeah.
That's it. And no bench. Away at Bournemouth. And you think it's all right for them. But you have 11 as well.
No, I do think it is a crisis. But Gary Neville kept telling Arsenal fans to stop whining about their injury crisis. So
I think that the main issue is just like quickly touching on the Walker thing is that, normally like, oh, Walker's injured, whatever, but it does just mean that the only option now becomes Rico Lewis, and it means he's got to play out all the time, and he's a good player, but he's not a defender ultimately. That's the concern. That's more about options, and I think that you can. It's also just a case of like, I think for me, it's like we've got 4 recognised wingers, I'd say, and they're all out. I think that's maybe the biggest issue. I mean, Nunes is doing a nice job on the left. It will no doubt mean Bernardo's probably going to have to go out on the right. So that obviously limits City in a way. I guess that's the biggest issue. City still have enough to win the game, of course. I know Bournemouth away is a very hard game. I know Brighton away is a very hard game. And Sporting in the Champions League, it won't be straightforward. But I'd still be disappointed if we didn't win all those games, even if all those players that we've just said are out, to be honest. I think that'd be disappointing from a City perspective. I'm still looking to get 3 wins from 3 from those games. I don't know if that's being unrealistic, but that's what I want.
If you get 3 points out from these 3 games, welcome, Tom. You get 3 wins out of these 3 games. Forget Sporting. I don't think we should shut it down, the league, to be honest. If with all these injuries, you still win away at Brighton and away at Bournemouth, there's no reason for having a Premier League. to be honest.
Well, hopefully, after the international break, most of those
Sorry,
players
what
will
have
be...
I just walked in on? Why are we acting like Brighton? Why are we acting like Brighton aren't a team that play into City's hands?
City have a lot of injuries, Tom. If they win all these games without injury...
What 3 games is it? What 3 games is it? Because
away against Bournemouth, away against Sporting, and away against Brighton.
I thought they actually playing some good teams there, not teams that play into their hands. Jesus Christ!
I don't know if Bournemouth were playing to our hands. To be fair, I mean they should have beaten us last season. In all honesty, or rather, it should have been a draw at least.
Bournemouth were going to play into Arsenal's hands before Saliba took out Evan Nielsen, and they still effectively did up until they scored because Martinelli had the best chance of the entire game and hit it straight at the keeper. Man City have people who don't hit shots straight at the keeper. Man City have a build-up structure that is more basically a better version of Arsenal's. That defensively, they're not as good. And especially off the press, they're not as good. But they're still better than Brighton and Bournemouth.
Yeah, I guess that the biggest concern for me would be, again, I still want us to win the games. I still think
if
we should.
This was a Villa or something, if this was like a game where you got Villa away and then you got through that with a win, I go, yeah, fair enough. But I don't see Brighton in that same way. I'm sorry.
Sure, I guess it's just. I mean, again, it's against anyone, isn't it? You want an option off the bench, to make an impact, whether that's a Doku or whoever. And in terms of the starting 11 is still one which I think should be winning, of course. But I think against anyone, you want someone to come off, and realistically, the bench would be looking like children essentially. Like I don't know what senior players actually make the bench in fairness, unless the injuries aren't as bad as we've been told, and obviously I hope that is the case. But I think that maybe the best option to bring off might be an Ake, but there's no midfielder you can bring off the bench. Senior, sorry.
Why are we assuming that City Nobens will just win against Bournemouth away? Bournemouth away are a tough game.
I'm not assuming anything, but I would like the win.
But how would you expect the win with all these injuries? That's what I don't understand.
I don't expect the win. I think that's arrogant, but I would play City in a situation where if there's like a win probability metric, I would expect City would still be the favourites rather than any other outcome. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about it like that.
I think that starting 11, if City rocked up with that starting 11 just because Pep decided to do a Pep thing and rotate a lot of players for that game, I think if Pep turned up with that 11 out of choice, you would expect them to beat Bournemouth still with that 11. The issue will only come if you need to look to the bench for something and you don't have what you need on the bench.
It won't be easy by any means. Again, we don't have any proper wingers, and it's probably going to have to be a midfield including Kova and Gunda, which I don't want to see. But that's the situation we're in
now, isn't he? What's happened to Gundogan?
Chill on Gunda. It's fine.
He's not very good now.
Fine. It's not fine.
Nah, chill.
Kovacic, Gundogan, and Foden. Kovacic, Gundogan, and Foden. You think that's a way at Bournemouth can dominate the game?
It's a midfield which is better than any midfield Bournemouth can put out. I would say that much.
Maybe.
Sure.
Respect Alex Scott. Oh no, Alex Scott's injured again. Never mind.
Oh, is he? He's actually quite good.
Yeah, I was gonna say respect Alex Scott and Lewis Cook and Ryan Christie. That's a good work man in midfield, but he's not even playing him now.
No. So it's not gonna be straight. I don't think it's gonna be straightforward. We're going to see the exact same issues we've seen basically all season. But the opposition will be dangerous on the counter-attack, and our counter-pressing won't be good enough. I hope that we play a bit more reserved, maybe, and we might need Nunes to bail us out again, as he has done the last couple of games.
Why do you think your pressing is so bad at the minute? Because it was really noticeable against Tottenham.
And
that first goal was entirely through a really bad counter press, which Archie Gray could just turn out.
Yes, absolutely. So the Spurs game in isolation, I can put down to the fact that Diaz wasn't, because I think Diaz made a mistake as well. He wasn't quite. I don't know who he came up to press, but when Ake went and Diaz didn't really follow him, I can't remember who that was, who Diaz was supposed to be picking up. I can put that down to the fact that Diaz wasn't supposed to start that game. It was supposed to be Akanji. Diaz, as we all know, was out partying with Rodri, so I'm going to give him a bit of a pass for that particular game. But in terms of the season as a whole, it all comes down to weird recruitment decisions. Obviously comes down to Rodri not being in the team. I feel like we've discussed it to death. Kovacic and Gundogan do not have the legs for that job. And I think that we should be backing off, basically. We should be backing off and be coming into a more settled defensive structure rather than trying to counter-press and win the ball back. Clearly, we don't have the personnel to do that right now, and clearly we're not set up in the right way to do that. So I would like to see us be a bit more conservative in the press until we can fix it anyway.
So you want the greatest manager of all time, Josep Pep Guardiola, to play more like Mourinho?
No, whoa! Hang on. I did not say that. I want him to play. I want him to play how he played against Southampton. So where we actually did bring the players back and we didn't really go gung-ho in the press. That's what I want to see. I'm specifically talking about counter-pressing, by the way. I'm talking about when you lose the ball and you try to win it back immediately. We don't have the legs for that. So for me, I'd rather we just retreat when we lose the ball. I'm not saying that you need to go total, everyone defending the box all the time. I'm just saying that just be a little bit less gung-ho in the counter-press. That's all.
I would argue, though, that even if you were to bring back the majority of the players that are out injured, and I'm imagining your first team in my head, that's a team that isn't necessarily great at counter-pressing anyway.
Right, so which is why I'm saying we should back off a little bit. I agree.
Because years ago, I would have agreed with when Kevin De Bruyne was a little bit more physically able and could, because he was actually quite quick. I don't think Foden's necessarily the greatest counter-presser, but when it was Bernardo in there, he could do it. I still don't know about the likes of Savio and Doku. I know Grealish, when he's fit, can do it.
It's more the centre, to be honest, where the issue lies for me.
Yeah, I feel like you're just too easy to play through at the minute. And
we are.
That's why I'm saying Bournemouth's game will be very tough.
But I don't think Bournemouth have the quality to punish City.
Semenyo, Kluivert, Ouattara. I think.
Go on the ball.
Yeah, I genuinely think that attack. City have come from behind 5 times this season already. Already 5 times. Bournemouth are not either. I'm not saying that Bournemouth are favourites, but with City's injuries, right? Rico Lewis is not the best defender on the planet. As you said, their midfield is not tight enough to stop Semenyos and Kluivert from counter-attacking on the transition. This is why I fear for City in this game. If they fall behind 1-0 or something like this, it's going to be tough because they're going to be way more open than actually what they are, because they're going to have to push players forward. So that is the thing. In this game, without the midfield that they should be playing, of course, Rodri is not there. And of course, because also they don't have any speed on the wings for City, by the way, to actually force Bournemouth to be sitting deeper. Yeah, when you have Gakpo and Savinho, you'll have to be a little bit deeper.
That's all right back.
Field day for Nunes is what I'm hearing then.
Could be. Did I see correctly that because Savio got stretchered off in tears, didn't he? But it turns out it's just like a minor sprain.
I think that, it seemed to be more of an impact injury. I think he was concerned it would be something more debilitating, but as I understand it, he'll be back after the international break, so a couple of weeks out, I think. So he won't be available until after then, I think.
That's him and Anthony.
Oh, so it was simulation. He was simulating a bigger injury. That's a booking. Simulation, though.
I think he probably would have wanted to stay on because he was our best player at the time. I think that he probably thought it was a worse injury than it was, because I guess I obviously never got injured, but I expect that if you have a big one and it's a big impact, you might fear the worst, mightn't you? I guess that would be the explanation.
We'll see. I think we'll see what happens. But this game is going to tell me a lot about how City play this season. If you fall behind again and you have to come back and all the stuff, it's going to be a pattern at this point with 10 games.
Could they be unsustainable?
I've already used that word, Tom, when you weren't.
The problem is, I will never know until the Kevin De Bruyne is back. You know what I mean? Until they have the full team, apart from Rodri, of course, until January, and they sign an actual midfielder that can close the midfield. I wouldn't know.
Well, it is objectively unsustainable to go behind. Sorry, how many times do you say City have done it?
5, I think.
Right,
out of 9 games.
Right, so that's around 50%, isn't it?
That was worse than last season.
Yeah, now
it's crazy.
I don't know. I don't have the footnote in front of me, but I would wager that there is no Premier League winner in history who won the title whilst 50% of their games, starting off by being 1 goal behind. I would wager that that doesn't exist.
I think
So
actually 6 if you include Watford in the cup.
So, yeah,
Right.
in terms of like winning the title, it is definitely unsustainable. Like we've got to stop it. Clearly,
I think it's Wolves, Fulham, Watford, Arsenal, Brentford, West Ham,
the clean
Ipswich.
sheet
Actually,
against-
it's more. It's more actually.
West Ham didn't go 1-0 down.
So no, okay, so not West Ham. Ipswich,
Yes.
Ipswich, Brentford, Arsenal, Fulham, Wolves.
Watford.
Didn't
In
go
the Premier
1-0 down
League,
to
so that's
Watford.
5 out of 9. So it's around 50%, isn't it?
5 out of 9. Yes, that's in the Premier
Yeah.
League. Yes, it's actually crazy.
Yeah.
It's
So
actually crazy.
let's say we beat Bournemouth 1-0, then that turns to 50%. Doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's actually
you can't
crazy.
You can't win the title doing that. So we'll obviously have to.
But that's the
sort it
thing.
out.
Before we move on away from City, I don't trust anyone but Pep Guardiola to say, who cares? Comes February, all winning 25 games in a row. Here's 52 wins on the bounce. Forget about everyone. We're just winning the title. It's actually crazy.
You can never count him out, but he's obviously never been in seriously for City. He's never been in this situation where he's had, his only defensive midfielder out for the whole season, and all the other bits and bobs. So that's the only little.
Last time you had no defenders, you lost the league to Liverpool. But that's a good because do you think Amorim choosing Man United over Man City?
I think even if they had their defenders, they wouldn't have won the league.
Exactly. I would contend that even if we had everyone fit, Liverpool still win that league. I would still say that.
Guys, hit that like button, people. Subscribe to the channel. We got over 400 people here. Can we get the likes up to 200, guys? We aren't even on 100 likes, which is absolutely criminal, people. Do you think Amorim choosing Man United?
Do I need to address the elephant in the room here?
Who? What?
About a certain manager that I may or may not have wanted at Liverpool.
But we have a Man United fan. Can we get the Man United fan? Because Amorim chose Man United over Man City. That is absolutely crazy.
Wait, what?
Okay, so in Portugal, you're muted, Staffy. It was actually reported that he was tipped to wait for the decision by Man City to take over something for Pep Guardiola. He was one of the candidates. And at the end, Man United convinced him. He didn't choose Man United. Man United convinced him to take over the job now.
Right,
that is what was reported.
I've got to fact check something, and sorry to do this.
Check it. Yeah, it's false.
And also,
that's not me reporting. I didn't talk to the guy.
No, sure. The links between City and Amorim were just that. They were links. It was paper talk. There was nothing concrete from a City perspective. We still don't know if Guardiola's going to sign an extension or not. So it's not a case of, City went.
You didn't offer him the job. If that's what you want to say, you didn't offer him the job.
Indeed. And,
is that what you want to say?
And I believe one of the main reasons as to that, and it was one of my questions about it as well. Sorry, I'm very dark, aren't I? I'll pop a light on. One of like the main reasons or concerns I was having about that when we were theorizing about Amorim was that he obviously plays very different to how Pep plays. So that wouldn't have made any sense to bring in a manager who plays a totally different manner. It makes sense for a club. Again, this isn't a bad thing about United. This is a good thing. You want change and revolution. It makes sense to have a totally different play style and go to Man United because they want a total reset anyway. It doesn't make sense to try to reinvent the wheel at City. That's why I imagine whenever we replace Pep, it'll be someone who plays more like how Guardiola plays, and Amorim plays nothing like that.
All right. So Staffy's here. It's the first time on the show. Big up Staffy. Guys, subscribe to Staffy TV. Of course, it's in front of you. It's big up first time. Dan, are you going to be able to speak, Dan, or we're just going to...
I bet it was a good conversation, so I didn't want to interrupt him.
Tom, you have to go and watch the beginning of the show later after the show.
Yeah,
listen, Chelsea, Man United. It's a very strange thing. I'm picking Chelsea to win. I'm just going to quickly get the guys, Arsenal, Man City, and Tom. Your predictions for this game. This new manager bounce, Ruud is there, galvanizing the team. Do you think they can get a result? Do you think they can win against Chelsea, Man United? Quick, before we get the prediction.
Yeah.
Yes. They're favorites, Tom?
Not favorites, but I think they can. I think if a bit luck goes their way and Rashford turns up for once, I think they can go. They can get a result.
Rory?
No.
Nobbins is not here. All right. Dan and Staffy then. Guys, let's hit the like button. Staffy, how confident are you playing Chelsea at home?
I thought we were going to talk about Amorim first, and then we went to the game. I wanted to
Okay,
have
go
a
ahead.
little
Go
word
ahead.
with Tom
Tell me
Little
about
there.
Amorim. You don't have time to talk about Amorim for a full show. You don't have time.
You know, now that I know that Tom Little's here, I have more time. You know, Tom Little, here's the thing. Tom Little promised me that he's going to FedEx me a bunch of paper, some files, some graphs, all that stuff. He did research for I don't know how long about this much of paper. He's going to ship it to me because he's been doing a lot of research about Amorim for a while.
I've got a 60k viewed video on my channel of Amorim to Liverpool.
Yes.
That's like the pinnacle of my channel. And he's now
guess what?
fucking United.
Staffy TV members, we're gonna be doing a live reaction to that. We're gonna go to the video and we're gonna react to it together. Tom Little analyzes our new manager, Rubin Amorim.
You
Thank
twerk so
You made
much
my
for
life a lot
Amorim,
easier.
Tom. It's unbelievable that you kind of like you went around the channels asking for Amorim. Like
I
crazy.
was on this show. I was on this show when Ornstein tweeted out that he wouldn't become to Liverpool. And I remember
that was such a fun time.
That was great.
Oh, I'm sure if people want to, they could go find that show. I can't remember exactly which one it was. Those three, honestly, the press was ridiculous. The press was horrendous. I couldn't believe it. And now, look, it is what it is. I don't think it was the smart move for him to make, but he's made this move now. You know, at the end of the day, I've got a beautiful bald bastard who I don't need anyone else, but Arnie Slot in my life. And I hope that I have never been more wrong about anything in my life than Rubin Amorim being a good manager. I hope he takes everything Erik Ten Hag done really badly and makes it even worse.
That's the
Thank you
spirit.
so much for being rational. Thank you, Tom.
I'm like the enigma on the show.
What are
Staffy.
you want a Liverpool fan to wish a manager to turn it around at Man United?
I just said so much for being rational. That's all I said. I'm not telling him what to do, but if that's how he feels, that's how he feels. You know,
do you think he's going to turn it around for real? Do you believe this?
I don't know.
I want to get your opinion about this, and I want everyone in the panel just as well. Someone asked the question, why is this different than Ten Hag? Ten Hag was very successful at Ajax, tactical genius at Ajax. He took them to a semi-final, won the league with them. The only difference HUSAM presented, to be honest, is that he took over the best team in the Netherlands
100%.
versus Amorim taking over the third best team with less budget, right? However, it's the same thing. You still have player power. Yes, you have Ineos now, but a lot of people don't trust Ineos. So why is it different? Why this time is going to be different than Van Gaal, than Mourinho, than all these people?
Because United have an actual footballing structure now. That's the worry.
I can't tell you there's going to be different though, because I don't know. Everything could be happening at the right time. It could be the best conditions. It could be perfect conditions, and it still could fail. I've told the people on the chat on my channel. I said, listen, guys, we need to be very realistic about the possibility that a manager could come in and fail. I was like, the likelihood of managers taking over a job and not winning the league is much more higher than a manager taking over a job and winning the league anyways. So if Rubin Amorim's time at United ends in about 3 years, 4 years, and he doesn't win us a league, I mean, that sounds a little bit more realistic than him coming in and winning the league in his first 1 or 2 years. So I don't think there should be a big element of surprise. However, I will discuss one thing. There is this notion that he's already doomed. He's doubt to fail from the beginning because we had 5 managers fail before that. That is absolute ludicrous. That just makes zero sense. If that's the case, then it means everything that happened today in your life is going to happen tomorrow. Because why would tomorrow change? So if you woke up today, you went to work and you had a bad day at work, guess what? According to logic, you're going to have a bad day at work tomorrow. Something bad that happened to you today is going to happen tomorrow, which it makes no sense. Rubin Amorim is a very good coach. If you want to compare him to Erik Ten Hag, yes, there's a lot of similarities. But as you mentioned, HUSAM said it, and I will repeat that. There's a difference between winning the league with Sporting Lisbon 2 years out of 4, I believe.
Yes.
One of them was the first one in 16 years. And Sporting are not the Ajax of the Portuguese league, if that makes sense. There are a couple bigger clubs. Porto probably is a bigger club. Benfica is a bigger club. So they're not really, they don't get looked at as the favorites. So he kind of won the league with an outlier. And you hear what they say about him. And I dug a little bit into some of what the Portuguese fans been saying about him, and especially Sporting fans. and they absolutely love him. They talk about him very well tactically. They talk about his character more than anything. And I think that's one of the few things that we lacked with Ten Hag. He might have had the best tactics in the world. I'll never know because I was never in these locker rooms and these dressing rooms when he was giving out the tactics to the team. But one thing is for sure that he was never able to get the message to these players. Ruben Amorim, if he is just at least like 5% better than Ten Hag at that, then I can already promise you that we're going to look better on the pitch. Because there was a clear disconnect between our manager and our players. It's no coincidence that he leaves and then we put 5 past Leicester. If Ten Hag was there, we probably would have struggled against Leicester because I've seen us in so many games with teams with lesser quality actually of that Leicester team, and we still struggled. The last season was the biggest proof to it. So there's no guarantees that he's going to succeed, but I think people need to be a little bit more rational and excuse the pun there, but they do need to be a little bit more rational when judging Ruben Amorim because he is coming in factually under a new structure. Now, I have no guarantees, and I'll never lie to any United fan and say be hopeful, but I'm not gonna lie to you and say that there's any guarantees because I haven't seen Ineos with their guy operate in Manchester United until now. This is the first time for all of them that they're coming into this club. They finally hired everyone. Every piece of the puzzle is finally there. The last piece of the puzzle was the head coach. They finally got the head coach. So this whole structure is new. These are not the same people that hired and fired the managers before, which is why I can't judge what happened in the past with what's happening now. Like we might as well just change the name Manchester United to something else, and no one is going to make that judgment anymore. It's not the same people, so we can't do that. But we got to give him a chance, and we deserve to be hopeful, and you should be hopeful because he's a good manager. It's going to take time for him to get what he wants to do, though, because we play, I would say, like maybe 90% different than what we do right now, or what we did under Ten Hag. 3 in the back, advanced fullbacks that like to attack more than defend. Whether we're going to play with 1 striker and 2 10s or 2 striker and a 10, we're still going to see that. 2 holding midfielders. It's things that we really didn't do. So it's going to take a lot of time to finally for him overhaul that team and get most of the players that fit what he wants to do. So I would expect anything right away. However, we will see change in terms of how we set up on the pitch, what he's demanding his players to do, where they occupy positions on the pitch, stuff like that. So be hopeful, be excited, but at the same time, don't expect too much right away. And if you don't get what you personally want right away, don't be negative. Don't tell me in 3 months. I'm hearing people say if he doesn't win the Europa League and get top 4, sack him. Bro, what are we doing here? Like, come on, man. Like, this it's so illogical.
How well suited, Staffy, do you think United's squad is for the way Amorim plays? Because I think it's been pretty well established now. He plays like 3-4-3, doesn't he? So the way I'm looking at your squad is that because I'm looking at the fullbacks in particular who are going to play at wing backs. I appreciate that you play 3 in possession, but you obviously play 4 out of it. I think Amorim does both, doesn't he? 3 in, 3 out. How many fullbacks do you need? Because I'm looking at what you've got. Shaw's would be fantastic, but is never available. Adalo, I think, would be perfect for that. How well suited do you feel the squad is in general to play how Amorim wants to play?
So I think we're suited in the back line, even though we need more. So our back 3, I've been calling for this for a while. I don't think our center backs are good enough to defend in a 4. De Ligt and Martinez, they don't complement each other. I think the only time we looked good when we were defending is when Varane was on his best next to Martinez. I've always said that if you have Martinez in a team like this, he probably needs to play in a 3 because he has so many deficiencies, especially not more technically, but on the physical aspect. He's very short. He's not that fast. He's not great in wide areas. So you need one more center back there. So I think when we have Martinez, Euro, and De Ligt playing, I think it's going to look a lot better than anything we've seen when we have a back 4. I think our midfield also, because our midfield, bro, I was so I found it very hard in the summer to be positive about this midfield going into the season because our ball retention, bar maybe Manu and Eriksson, who can't play too much football, our ball retention is just horrible. And I always look at this midfield. I was like, this is not a possession-based 4-3-3 type of formation midfield. I was like, you kind of need a little bit better than that if you want to play like that. When you use a midfield too, and I'll use the Tuchel midfield that he did with Chelsea more recently as an example, you had the runner and you had someone who was a little bit slower, but a little bit more quicker with his thinking in Jorginho. So he was quick with his thinking, his execution. Obviously, he was technically announced. And then you had Conte, who was a good ball carrier, but his main thing is that he was an absolute runner. He was putting out fires everywhere. And I thought Ugarte, if he's to be anything near successful at United, he needs to dedicate his game after N'Golo Kante, because most of his strengths are similar to what Kante used to do. And I think we've seen a little bit of it last game when he played next to Casemiro. He was just everywhere. He was perfect on the counter press. He was pressing every time perfectly. He was never late to the press. And at the same time, he was just covering a lot of ground, whether it's on our half or their half. If you use a midfield two, which one of them is a runner and one of them is basically Meno, who's going to be a little bit better on the ball, I think that's more suited than any midfield that we have. So those two areas I'm okay with. What we're going to struggle with is our fullbacks, or I should say our wingbacks.
Yes.
We factually don't have a left-footed wingback available right now. And when Shaw and Malacia come back,
It's very easy to buy, though.
Yes.
It's very easy. It's very easy to
Shaw comes
acquire.
back, you know he's
Yeah,
going in like.
But it's very easy to acquire. A left
100%.
wing back is very easy to acquire.
100%.
Tons of left-footed players in the world that will come in and play the left wing back.
You've got a guy who can do the job temporarily, anyway.
Dallo and Dallo and
No, not
Mazraoui at the
Dallo.
current moment, they're good. They're not bad.
Don't say Garnacho, please.
He's gonna
I'm
joke
not-
and say
I'm not-
Anthony.
I'm not-
Don't worry about it. He's gonna joke and
Anthony's the
say
solution.
Anthony.
No,
He's
no,
gonna
no.
say
I'm
Anthony.
not
He's gonna
even
joke
messing.
around.
I'm not even.
Okay,
I'm
he's
not
messing
genuinely-
around.
I'm
Okay,
not-
here is the
I'm
National
not
League
messing.
people.
I'm not.
Here he
I'm
goes.
not
Here he
messing.
goes. Go
I'm
ahead.
not messing.
Let him
Oh
finish.
my
Let him
God.
Amorim at Sporting has turned a lot of wingers into wingbacks. Wingers that don't necessarily have good product in the final third. He's turned into wingbacks. Nuno Santos was a winger who he turned into a wingback. Jenny Catamo was a winger who he turned into a wingback. He's got a 17-year-old winger who's come through. He's turned into a wingback now. He's done this with a number of players. If they're not necessarily effective in the final third, but he knows that they can work up and down the wing and occasionally give him a decent cross, he will put them up with fullback if needs be. And the thing is, he needs them wingbacks to provide width because no one further forward does. They are the guys who give the width. So he needs guys who are comfortable going touchline. If you've got a right footer on the left and a left footer on the right, unless they are an exceptional winger, they're going to want to come in. So you kind of want right footer on the right, left footer on the left. What
Tom,
other
here's the
left
thing
footed
about
players do you
Anthony.
have?
Here's the thing about Anthony, and this is why United fans have been saying this for a minute now. Put him left back, put him left wing. This guy, I say this, I don't know how much you guys watch of Anthony. He doesn't even play a lot, so I'm not surprised.
He doesn't play a lot. Nobody watches Anthony.
Exactly, but even when he was playing, this guy is legitimately allergic to running parallel to the line. He hates running parallel to the sideline. The first thing this guy does is always cut the ball onto his left and look into the pitch. He hates the idea of being just a touchline winger who just runs. He never does that. Look at the way that he dribbles. I don't think I've ever seen this man sprint. He likes to do these little rolls on the ball as he's running because he likes to close dribbling. Because in any moment, he just likes to cut in and just play a ball either inside, shoot, all that stuff. The idea of him playing on the left where he can't open up his body to the pitch, because if he opens up his body to the pitch, it means he's on his right foot. And he's also allergic to playing the ball with his right. I've never seen a more one-footed player than him. All these things put together, and down to the fact, by the way, that he actually fought with Ten Hag one time when he put him in the left back. All these things put together, I look at it, I'm like, there is no way this guy is our left winger. I understand you're saying he's a makeshift one. If we play him for like, I don't know,
It would be until January.
It's
It's not a guy who's going to be there when in 2-3 years' time when he's had his players. But it's a case of Dallo. I don't think can do the job. I don't think
Definitely
Amorim. I don't think Amorim likes having guys like that as his wing backs. He likes them to be quite attacking in nature. So I feel like it would be until January. Left wing back has to be a position that you buy straight away. But in the short term,
I agree with it.
In the short term, I think it could be just a makeshift thing. Because your thing was then the problem that he has is when he gets the ball, he cuts inside onto his left. He can't cut inside onto his left when he's out wide. He has to take it down the line, which is kind of what he's supposed to do. Imagine the best way I can put it is this: he's not going to get the ball much. United will focus a lot of play down the right, and it'll effectively be a case of Rashford off the left, because I'm assuming it'll be Rashford off the left, is just sort of there to make late runs and get on the end of crosses that are put in from the right-hand side. Anthony is there to be a cone and to provide width and to make sure that there's someone to watch. There's someone to watch and make sure that there's a structure held. You don't really want to give him the ball, but he's there to be had type thing. It's certainly not a long-term solution, but it's a solution.
I wanna shift the conversation a little bit from this to like the game and how people. I wanted to ask people a question. If Amorim comes in, seriously, I want you guys. We've been dealing with Man United fans for over like 3 years. I want you to put a plausible situation that can happen. Amorim can come in 10 games in, and they can finish 8th or 9th, and they don't win Europa League, they don't win any trophies. How do you guys think Man United fans will react? Genuinely. Because it's very plausible. Villa finish ahead of them. Spurs might finish ahead of them. What do you think? Because what Staffy said is actually, guys, it is actually on Twitter and on fans and on content creators. We won Europa League and top 4 now. We have a good manager, we have a good team. This thing has been said and many times.
I think a lot of it's going to depend on how Rude does. If United win the next 3 games with Rude at the wheel, and one of those is against Chelsea, and then Amorim comes in and doesn't perform as well as Rude did for those 4 games, there will be a group of United fans that will just be like, we should have stuck with Rude, club legend, we should have stuck with him. And so that will anger a lot of United fans if in that scenario, if that happens. I think if they end up 8th or 9th, it'll be most rational United fans, I would imagine, will be more interested in actually like the way that United are playing and how that's changing rather than just the results. And you would say, look, he'll have had what, 7 months by the end of the season and only a January transfer window. So you wouldn't dig him out too much, but yeah, I can imagine if he's following up Rude's 4 wins, then
he's got to be giving his players, hasn't he? Like if he comes in now, how many past managers players is he working with? Is it like 4 or something?
It's actually I can't remember. It's actually not as bad as it has been in previous years. I think it's like 80% of the squad either signed or debuted under Ten Hag. Whereas in the past, you were going back to like 4 or 5 managers. I think you've got 2 from Van Gaal and Shaw and Rashford. I think you at a push, you've got 1 from Mourinho. Then you've got a couple from Oli, which is like the majority of the ones that aren't Ten Hag. And then about 80% is Ten Hag. So this is a Ten Hag squad, basically, bar a couple players.
But regardless, he's got to be giving his own players, hasn't he, before we criticize him, I think.
No, but I'm going to tell you why. What is the notion that is happening now? Eddie Howe and Unai Emery. They say Unai Emery took over Aston Villa at the similar time, international break, second on October, November, and he took the team right away to winning ways. Eddie Howe took over the team and right away, not his players, nothing. Yes, he signed Isak, if I'm not mistaken, in that January transfer window. And right away, they're playing good, and they were like the 3rd or the 4th best team in the country over that period. That is what Man United fans think. And Man United fans, some of them...
One second. And where's Eddie Howe now? And where's Newcastle now?
No, but forget now. But they're talking about that time.
I can't forget now because we're playing the long game now, Mo. I understand what you're saying.
Exactly
that's
what
the
you're
point
saying.
Nubbins is making.
And that's the whole point. Are people going to play the long game?
Mo, respectfully, I don't care what the majority of the United fans say. I see match-going fans saying yesterday that McKenna is better than Zidane. Like, I genuinely do not care for what they say.
Just forget what they
United
say. You
fans,
know that.
especially the match-going ones, their knowledge about football is probably about this much. So I don't care about that. All I'm going by is that Omar Barada came in and said, we are aiming to compete for the league or try to win the league in 2028. And then they sign a manager who will clearly need time. I'm not saying we will win the league in 3-4 years, but you can tell that all of them together collectively are playing the long game. They have a long-term plan. I'm sorry if it's going to upset United fans this season. If after the Rude manager bounce, let's say we win 3 or 4 games out of 4, Rubin comes in and he starts playing his style that he thinks is going to win us the league in a few years, and it upsets them because we can't troll our rivals this season and say, haha, look, Spurs fans, we won a Europa League from you guys. I don't care about that. I care about the long game. I care about what happens in 3 years when we are ready or not to compete and win a league or not. So I shouldn't go, I'm sorry, by what the average fan is saying, because the average fan doesn't know what he's talking about.
All right then. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. For the
concur.
game this Sunday, what do you think is going to happen, guys? How do you think? I actually think Chelsea are going to dominate the game. Man United aren't going to sit back, and Chelsea are going to hit them on the counter attack. 2+
I
goal
want to hear what
margin
Dan
for
has to say
Chelsea.
because I feel like I've only
Yeah.
heard his Donald voice. I need to hear
Yeah,
normal
same
Dan for a
here.
minute.
Go
Wait,
ahead.
hold on, what time is it the start for Donald?
Exactly.
You
You're
need
going to
to
go and watch it
You
then.
have to
Go
go
and
back
watch it.
and rewatch.
The
and give
beginning,
Mo
just
that
the
ad
beginning.
revenue.
I
Skip
still have
it.
no
Don't
idea
skip
how
the
it
ad.
happened, by the way. I still have no idea what was happening. I've just unplugged it and it seems
Can we,
reset.
before Dan goes in, guys, there's 700 people here. I need the likes to be 300 likes, guys. It helps the video, helps the algorithms of YouTube, of course. All these guys' channels are in the description as well, so go and subscribe to them. But we cannot be slacking in the likes like this. So hit that like button, people. Don't be like the Chelsea B team against Newcastle.
What do you mean by that, Mo?
What do you mean by that? You got hammered in Newcastle. Your manager threw the game away, but anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Look, hopefully it's the complete opposite against Man United because it has to be. It like that game against Newcastle wasn't good enough. I think those players have only probably hindered their chances. I think Maresca probably believes more now in less rotation because I think he probably believes these players aren't good enough to contribute towards his first 11. The real thing for me here is that Chelsea haven't won at Old Trafford in a long time.
12 years.
And they're
That's
on
what
a
they
new
said.
manager bounce,
Really?
which I think, yeah,
That's
it's a
what
long
I've been
time.
told yesterday since.
We went through a period, I think, post-COVID era, which was a lot of draws, home and away. And then, like last season, we obviously won at the Bridge, but didn't win away. We lost 2-1. It's going to be a tough game. And the fact they've got a new manager bounce it definitely makes it harder to navigate, I think. But yeah, Tom, are you...
He's
Yeah,
Can I ask a question
He
to
can't
everyone?
relate.
How far, forget the manager, how far this Chelsea team from Man United team?
Wait,
Is
what?
it
How
far?
far? About
Is it like
3 hour,
this
3 hour
Sunday?
drive?
The team,
It's
like the
weekend,
team.
sorry.
Yes, the team.
Oh, no,
If
we're
you are
miles ahead of
comparing the two
United.
teams.
No, we're miles ahead.
Oh, okay, so we're
Yeah,
glad,
based
glad
on
we
right now, of
established
course,
this.
yeah.
On
Yeah,
a,
glad we
I did a
established this.
combined 11 and Chelsea won it 9 players to 2. If that helps you.
Which
But
who
none
are
of
the
them are
two?
predicting a battering.
Is
on
that
The
based
Sunday.
on
two
form?
United.
Onana?
Who's the player that doesn't play for you?
Onana and I just about squeezed Delict in because I'm not a fan of Fofana.
Okay, fair.
Who'd you put left wing?
Neto.
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 Of course.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah,
is
I
based
agree.
on form, not quality.
Yeah,
because
on
Rashford's a better player, surely.
form and fitness. Yeah, so players
Do you
that are available.
You think Rashford's better than Neto? No.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah,
On
as a
his
football
day,
player,
yeah.
yes, Rashford is better than
Rashford's
Neto.
not had
yes.
a bad season, has he? I don't think it's hard.
No,
It's,
he
like,
hasn't.
it's obviously not.
He's literally been robbed
I
from
think
like
he's got
4 or
one
5
goal.
assists.
You give leeway to other players. Marcus Rashford is a talented footballer that has lost his way because of the way Man United are being run and the change of managers and all this stuff.
Agreed.
But the talent is there. It's undeniable that Marcus Rashford is a talented footballer that could have been something if he wasn't playing for Man United, which is why I wanted Kobe Mino to leave. Because he's a very good footballer that should have left Man United. But now you got Amorim. Hopefully it will work out for
But
him.
Rashford is still of an age that if Amorim sort of turns it around
Yeah,
and
100%.
gets it going in the right direction,
He just-
Rashford could definitely still. I mean, this season, from what I've seen, all right, Rashford isn't putting up the numbers he's done in previous seasons, but he looks like a player that wants to play, that is trying to fight for the team, rather than a player that maybe last season wasn't sure what was happening at Manchester United. I think they knew Ten Hag's time was up.
You know what the thing about it is that Bruno Fernandes doesn't suit Amorim at all.
I'm not sure that's true. I'm not sure whether or not
Tom can tell you.
Wouldn't he play
No,
like the right
Bruno,
right
that
10 position?
Amorim a lot.
How? Which position then? Maybe
right
maybe
10.
I don't know.
Right 10.
Okay, so right forward.
I'd argue he'd play him off the left more.
I
I'm just
think
going by the
left 10.
players. The players that he had at Sporting, the closest guy I'd match up Fernandes to is Pedro Gonçalves, and he played off the left.
Yeah, but he's got to play Rashford, hasn't he?
He'll play
Rashford's been off the right though this season, though, at times.
He's
I-
pushed
I-
to the right
I-
over the last 3
Yeah.
games.
You guys know that the problem is they don't have midfield that can actually play two midfielders together.
Casemiro and Ugarte
They do.
will probably work in that system.
Mainu and
And then
Ugarte.
who's having the ball? Mainu.
Who's having the ball?
Mainu.
Yeah, of course.
So Mainu and Ugarte, because Casemiro and Ugarte, the ball is never going to progress.
Well, it did against
Who does?
Leicester.
No,
To be fair,
Leicester City,
Fernandes
Dan.
will play. Fernandes will play
It's
multiple
Dan.
positions.
Yeah, but they haven't been able to beat teams of Leicester's level this season. That's
And
why they're 14th.
Bruno is there. That's the thing. As a third midfielder, if you play
Well, I
3-4-3, you need
That's
two
not true.
midfielders. One of
He's
them as a
playing so
runner.
advanced up the pitch, Mo. And to be fair, as much as I don't like Casemiro, his progressive passing is not as bad as you're making out to seem.
He's
He
not
actually has
bad,
a-
but he's not fantastic.
So what he's not fantastic at, which is why I think this guy is one of the weirdest midfielders I've ever seen. He'll mess up a 5-yard pass back to his center back, but then he'll think like a 50-yarder in behind to someone. Like he's just weird about him. And when he occupies that right hand side, he low key, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie, he gives me those Kevin De Bruyne crosses, and I'm like, who are you? Like, what are you actually good at? Like he makes these first time crosses into the box very well, but as I said, he can't make a 5-yard pass. So it depends of what you want to talk about when you mention progressive passing. His progressive passing isn't that bad. His ball carrying is horrendous. You can absolutely talk about that. He has 0 ball carrying ability. But there's ways to make that midfield work. And I think we won't have a set 2. It's going to be Ugarte, Mainu, and what's his name, and Casemiro, the main 3 being switched there. And I'm okay with that. I don't want Mainu to play 90 minutes every game because I think it's not good for his development anyways. You know, and he's not at that age anyways. Like you're 19, you shouldn't be relied on for 90 minutes. The talent is there, but the squad should be good enough to rotate.
You know the problem with looking at Man United is like you will need to have a clear out again, in my opinion, and buy new players again for him.
I don't think so. I think we had the clear already. We have to make sales, but it's not a clear out. Like I don't think it's an exact clear out. I could tell you a bunch of players that I would keep right now. It probably, and I said this as well to people on my channel. I said, if there is a day that we win the league with Amorim, I need you guys to be accepting to the fact that this squad that we see today, maybe only 1 or 2 of them could be a part of a team that wins the league. Because that's the same that happened with Liverpool and Klopp. When Klopp first came in,
Staffy, that is a clear out. If that's the case, you will have a clear out.
But you know what it is? I don't think it's a clear out because I don't think you need to get rid of them all right now. But like in 3 years, if most of them are gone, that's normal evolution.
So what we're doing, we're just debating, terminology here. At the end of the day, you don't believe your current squad is good enough to put Manchester United where they should be.
No,
whether or not you get rid of players in a season or 3 seasons, you don't believe currently that probably 8 players at least are good enough to be in this squad going forwards.
So then here's the difference: good enough to play the system and good enough to win the league with the system are 2 different things for me. And I always talk about this squad. We don't have a good enough floor. We need to reach a level where I look at the floor of this team and I'm like, you know what? This team's floor is competing for top 4 every year. Now for us to win the league, we have to rise our ceiling. We have to get rid of a couple good players and get even better players. You get rid of a Bruno as an example, and you get like a world beater, like I mean, not Kevin De Bruyne, but someone in his quality. You get rid of like, I don't know, a striker, and you get someone like Haaland. Things like this. These are the things that make you win the league. But I don't think we need a clear out to play the way what's his name, Rubin wants to make us play football. Yes, there's a few switches that I still need. If I'm being realistic with you, I probably want 4 signings to be comfortable about playing his system next year, and that might include like 1 bench player. But to play his
how
football,
much
I don't
influence
think
do
we
you
need
think
a clear out.
Rubin will have on the game at the weekend, if any?
He's going to be in the
Nothing, isn't
stands.
it?
You already know how that crowd is going to be.
He's going to be in the
Is he?
stands.
Of course.
still-
I
I thought they said they still have to do the visa thing.
Oh, you know what it is? Actually,
still
I
gotta
don't think
manage.
he will. Yeah, because he's still managing. I'm sorry,
got
he's still
like 3 games
managing
left.
sporting until the international break. So forget that. My
No,
bad.
but even by the way, he can be in the stands. By the way,
I
and
think
still
is it
go
a
back and
difficult
manage
because
the
they play
game.
Saturday?
It's all
Yeah, but
right.
I
It
don't think
happens.
so.
Are the games not on the
You
same
play
day?
Sunday, yeah.
My whole idea is
it's
that when we
Sunday.
sign him, he was gonna be ready for the game right after Chelsea. But the news came out yesterday that he's gonna be sporting until the international
So
break.
Sporting
which is-
play tonight, so he may well be in attendance.
Definitely, yeah. He will. He
Yeah.
might be.
Yeah.
in
Then
Then
attendance.
haven't they got a big Champions League game?
They
coming
got
up in a
they
week?
got City and they got battered 5-0 last time, didn't they? They played City.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Like-
now he's got a point to prove, though, hasn't he? He's got to make sure he doesn't get battered.
I'd be pissed
Well,
if
I
I was
want
a
Chelsea to
sporting
win.
fan. If I was a sporting fan, and if they play tonight, that means Sunday can be a proper training day for them. I would be pissed as a sporting fan if my manager, when we've got a game against a City team that City team could well kind of not throw the game, but they don't need to win it. They've got a lot of injuries. If I'm a sporting fan, I'm going, you are our manager until the 11th of November. Fucking do your job. Do not go and
I
sit in
can
the
train and then
stands.
take a private jet and just go to the game at Manchester. It's not that far.
He's not locked in. He's not locked in.
No, that would piss me right off if I was.
I think Man United are rich enough to send him a private jet.
Hey, we were trying to send Manu and Garnacho on
No, yeah, they're not
So fucking cheap. That was so fucking cheap. It's
Amorim
unbelievable.
Amorim will be hooking onto a Ryanair flight with people coming back from holiday.
We're cutting our costs right now, Mo. We can't afford private jets like that.
We'll see. We'll see. I think he's going to be in the stands. I really think that. I hope that Chelsea whoop your ass at Old Trafford with him in the stands. To be honest,
there's already a good feel factor about being at Old Trafford. We've seen it last game at Leicester. I know a lot. Obviously, I have a lot of friends that go to games. They told me what happens. They said it felt like a Champions League night because everyone was generally just in good mood. So I think it's going to happen again on Sunday. Obviously, it's at home, so it really helps. It comes into our favor. We're going to see that death row again of Ineos. You know when they go to games together and they all pull up like they're the mafia? I think we're going to see them as well. So
yeah, but we only see them when you go 3-0 down and the cameras want to pan to them after showing Ten Hag. If you win, you don't ever see them.
Maybe actually, I'll tell them don't go. Actually, Ineos, if you're listening to this, don't go to the game. You haven't witnessed a good. They were there at the Palace one as well when we lost 4. Nah, I don't want to see that.
We still have the Arsenal game to talk about. I want to move to Chelsea a little bit. Yeah. I think Man United taking over the news that people are forgetting that Chelsea threw away a cup, an actual trophy that they could have won right away.
Did they throw it away, Mo?
Dewsbury Hall's right wing? Yes, they did.
Yes, I for one am shocked that the Conference League lineup doesn't work as well when it's not playing in the Conference League.
It's not the same lineup, bro. He literally played Disasi right back. Dewsbury Hall's right wing.
Hold on, Mo.
That right side was dead, bro. The whole game was dead.
Hold on, Mo. We were told that Chelsea have a second squad that could get Europe in the league. Now that second squad has had to go play a Premier League side, and it should have lost by more than 2. It had the chance, you know.
Hold on, I'm confused here. Are you praising Chelsea or you're not?
No, I'm criticizing the depth.
But that team should lose to Newcastle away. I'm just gonna tell you, Chelsea's first team going away at St James's Park isn't favourite. Let alone the second string team with Dewsbury Hall and Disasi right back and Badiashile at the back line.
Oh, Chelsea.
Nobody. I'm telling you. Okay, this is my opinion. I'll repeat it again. My opinion. Let me hear it then. No team goes to St. James's Park, right, away at Newcastle with all the fans and stuff and are favorites to win the game, including Man City, which is proven by the game that was played this season.
So you're telling me you don't think Man City goes to St. James's Park and are favourites?
I'm right because the facts are there. They already didn't win.
Oh my God. Arsenal go to St. James's Park, are they not
hold on.
favourites?
You winning against anyone going to St. James's Park and winning is a plus for you.
Yeah, it's a tough place to go, of course.
Exactly my point, Dan.
Tuesday
Exactly
night.
my point.
Yeah.
Why is Tom acting shocked?
Because you've just sat there and told me Man City, if they go to St. James's Park, aren't favourites.
They already did and didn't win.
Yeah, but this Newcastle side this season, as of Tuesday, right, they have been in bad form.
100%. But still, it's hard to beat them then, right?
Chelsea found it difficult to beat them at Stamford Bridge. The fact that Maresca believed that 11 changes would give him a chance of winning that game and getting him through to the next round of the Cup confused me a lot because it was already difficult with our best 11 out.
He didn't believe that he would, though, right?
100%. I agree with you, Rory.
He didn't think
it was a trial. It was a trial.
Look,
and it failed.
I think he believed in those players because of the evidence they've provided him in Conference League. They've scored 4 goals in pretty much every game they've played. Hang on one second. Against Barrow, they've played like 4. They've scored 4 or 5
Barrow
goals in that game.
No,
okay, but hear me out, right? They are scoring way more than the level of opposition they're against, right? So he believed they'd be good enough to potentially score 1, maybe 2 goals to get them through. And when they've played in the Premier League, they've been okay. Obviously, he probably learned some lessons that those players actually aren't as good as what he thought they might have been. I think they let him down. I don't believe he set that up to lose. If he did, then he is just
did they
not
let
good
him
enough.
down, or was he naive?
I think people are making excuses saying he threw the game away. I think Chelsea were
I don't think
awful.
he threw it. I think he went into that game and put
You
that
don't
lineup
take
out.
Cole Palmer on your bench on a Wednesday night to Newcastle if you're throwing the game away. You don't.
I
You just say
agree,
don't bother.
But I think I'm not saying that he put the team out and was like, we are losing this game and I'll be happy with it. But I think he took a team where, if he was honest with himself, he probably thought, we'll most likely lose. If we're still in the game with 15, 20 minutes to go, I'll throw Cole Palmer on, because if we get to 15, 20 minutes to go and we could grab a winner, why not? And if we win it, then I look like a genius winning the game by putting this team out, and the squad looks great. I think it was like I think if you asked him honestly, he probably thought that the likely scenario was that they would lose, and he probably doesn't care, which is fair enough.
Yeah, although the only thing I'll say is, as a Chelsea manager, the DNA of the club is about winning trophies, and ultimately, I don't think it's a brave decision to make, throwing away a League Cup tie when actually your chances of winning any other domestic trophy this season are small. That's probably your best opportunity, and the fact that Pochettino last season got to the final of that competition and should have won, as a new manager coming in, I would want to show to the bosses that you've definitely made the right decision. You've obviously backed me in the transfer market to have these players where there's better.
Maybe it is instructions from the bosses to play the second team in all the midweek games.
Maybe there is
the value of them.
I actually,
I'm with Rory here. People think that when we say throw the game away, is that he wanted to lose. No, he didn't want to lose. Like, for example, he didn't want to risk some players. And if we are in the game, I'll put the best players out. And if we are not, come on, I did a trial. We tried to play the bench players, and that's it.
Desperate to win. It's like City's game. Like Pep, I'm sure Pep would have wanted to win the game, but it's telling that Haaland didn't play a minute. Palmer didn't play a minute, did he? Like, if he was desperate to win the game, Palmer makes an appearance at some point, I think.
Thank you, Nobens.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yes.
I've been
It's
at
middle
League
ground,
Cup games where we've gone on to win it, and players like Eden Hazard have come off the bench to get us through the tie and things like that in the past. So I definitely get that point. I genuinely think, though, Maresca believed in that squad, that they were good enough to go and potentially get a result there. And I think some players let him down. I think some players were way below a level he expected them to be at. I think Nkunku had a poor game. I think João Felix was probably one of our better players on the night, but with absolutely no end product. I think Dazassi...
Mudryk was good, though.
No, I don't know if I'd agree with that.
Mudryk was their best attacker.
No, I think João Felix probably was our best attacker.
João Felix was horrific.
No, he wasn't. João Felix wasn't horrific because at least he was working himself into places to have the opportunities. A lot of players, Nkunku could barely control the ball. I think Nkunku found out that he doesn't like playing in the north of England. That might be a little bit too far up for him, to be honest with you. He looked like he just couldn't be asked out on that pitch. Look, it wasn't good enough. I expect a completely different level of performance against Manchester United. And I think if there isn't, it's a must win, because if we don't, we then have Arsenal the following game. And I don't believe our chances in that are as favourable as they are about beating Manchester United, even if we haven't won.
You think Man United away is... Oh, yeah.
I think there's more
on
chance.
Paper, it's much easier. Yeah, it's easier than facing Arsenal at home.
Yeah, I think it is. I think Arsenal are a very, very difficult team to play against. Look, Manchester United, whether they've got a new manager bounce or not, this squad of players haven't been good enough this season. There are obvious lacks of quality in this squad. And I believe that Chelsea can hurt any team on their day with this attack when they turn up. We gave Liverpool a good game. Liverpool are head and shoulders better than this Manchester United team, and that was at Anfield.
Fair enough. I think this game, there is a possibility that ends in a draw, and then Chelsea win, and then Man United win.
Okay,
new manager bounce or not new manager bounce.
Oh, so the game could end anyway, Mo. It could end in a draw, but it also could end in a
But I don't think you hear what I'm saying. The more likely outcome is called, Tom. Use your ears. Remove the headphones. No, use your ears. It's all right.
No, if you
I literally said the game more likely to end in a draw than to end in Chelsea win, then the last likely outcome is Man United win. That is what I meant.
So then just stake your claim on what we're not doing this sitting on the fence stuff.
I actually, no.
Right now.
If you want to meet Chelsea, 2+ goal margin. That is my thing. 2+ goal margins. 2+
in a stadium where they haven't won for 11 years.
Yes.
I don't think so.
I have an explanation for it before we move on to
Yeah,
Arsenal.
you can explain. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm kind of
Because
want to hear
I
that.
don't think Man United are gonna. I think Man United are gonna go toe to toe with Chelsea, and your defenders are not quick enough. That's what I think. I think you're gonna try to play to press at home, using the fans and using the energy in the stadium. You're gonna try to press. You're gonna try to play in the front foot. You're gonna see Chelsea team with Cole Palmer that are lethal at the current moment on the transition, the counter attack. Nicholas Jackson is at the top of his game in terms of playing against the high line. Can turn defenders, has a good first touch now. Cole Palmer has been on top of his game in terms of picking the right passes. We saw it with Neto, we saw it with Jackson, we saw he passed to Madueke. So I believe if Man United press, which is I believe that is what's going to happen, Chelsea are going to punish you and you're going to be chasing the game early. That is my belief. It might be
I think we're gonna
3-1,
try to
2-0.
listen. Here's the thing that I think we're gonna do, and I think we need to do. I think we should press their back line. And I think the main thing we
Which
need
is
to worry about.
exactly what is going to happen.
No, but here's the thing. I worry more about the ball coming from their back line into their midfield. That's where I want to cut off the passes. I don't care about the ball going to their back line. Build from deep all you want, all that stuff. I don't care. The issue is Lavia. I want to cut off the outlet to Lavia. Because if the ball goes to Lavia, then there's the issue. So I don't want us to go there. So you can set up in a mid block. You don't necessarily have to press the back line the whole game. But I think the issue, the main plan should be to cut off that outlet. That's it. If you force them to go wide instead of going down to the midfield, which is to Lavia, I think you have a better chance of winning the game.
Yeah,
I
And I think
completely
I don't
disagree,
think
by the way.
Rubin Nistelrooy, by the way, is
disagree.
arrogant enough to go toe to toe with them. You got to remember, he's also from the school of Fergie, and Fergie used to approach a lot of big games differently. He never really had one way of playing, and he didn't disrespect opponents. He would go to bigger opponents and just have assignments on the day. He would have Park Ji-sung just marking Pirlo on the day, stuff like that. So I think he comes from that school of thought, and he will approach the game differently than he approached the Leicester game. I don't think by any means he's going to disrespect Chelsea.
Yeah,
Sorry,
If Chelsea,
you don't-
Staffy, if
you-
Chelsea
you-
get
you
the
don't
ball
have
in
a
wide
Park
areas,
Ji-sung.
Was that
if
You don't
Chelsea
have
get
a
the
Park
ball in
Ji-sung,
wide
that's the
areas,
problem.
what
one
wide?
of them? I can't hear you.
Wait,
Go,
No,
go.
go
It's not
on,
your
man.
section, Tom.
If Chelsea get the ball in
How would
wide
you make the
areas,
point?
oh wait,
Yeah,
Tom,
but
shut up.
now we got to
If
see what
Chelsea
Tom
get
was
the
gonna
ball
say.
in wide areas, Dan,
Wow.
proceed, please.
Yeah, I don't believe
thank you.
that would be where I'd be thinking that Manchester United have a favourable chance of winning the game, because although if you block off the pass to Lavia, Casado then becomes an option who is just as press resistant at times and has been very good for a while now. And then Chelsea will have Madueke, Pedro Neto to beat your almost suspect fullbacks at times. Like I would back Madueke if he comes up against what's the left back? No, probably Martinez.
be
No,
No, it won't be Martinez.
he played left back against Leicester. What, he'll be rested?
So Martinez started left back against Leicester.
Yeah.
Because Mazraoui, because of his heart issue, we're not
Right.
playing him back-to-back games.
Right.
So he was
okay.
definitely saving for the week. So
Christ.
it's going to be that. Yeah. Which is, I agree with you, by the way, because I said yesterday on my channel, if Madueke plays against Martinez, it's over. Like he will cook.
Okay, fair.
He's
So
not good.
I honestly think Madueke cooks the majority of players in Manchester United's squad on the left-hand side defensively. I think he'll be absolutely fine. I think Chelsea building up from central areas or wide areas, especially if there's a chance to be in transition, are a dangerous side to play against. I think that's why we saw the likes of Newcastle and Liverpool in recent weeks retreat further back to remove that space. I think Manchester United's best chance of winning that game against Chelsea is to sit back behind the ball, get as many men back, try to hit Chelsea on a return counter-attack, because we've seen against Newcastle during the week, obviously there was some counter-pressing going on there that obviously caused Chelsea's poorer players some issues as well and some mistakes. But Liverpool obviously played the ball straight over the top of Chelsea's sort of defensive line when he left them as a 3 isolated. I just think Manchester United's best option of winning that game comes from being resolute defensively, try and keep that Chelsea side out, frustrate them without having the ball, and look to break on the attack and see if you can work chances that way. That's where Chelsea have lost games this season. That's where Chelsea haven't been good.
You know
what
we're
I
not a good
want-
counter-attacking side, and there's this people
But
still
you
think this is
just
the
hang on,
only team where we
Staffy.
were good
You
at counter.
just said that he comes from the same cloth of Fergie, that in a big game he will attempt to change something up.
No,
So
but that's why I said set up in a mid block.
Yeah, and
I don't
now
want a box
Rude
to
is no longer auditioning, right? So if the instruction comes from Amorim, maybe we see it set up in a way that Amorim wants to see this team go forwards. But if it's down to Rude and he's left to do what he wants, he'll just do what he can to get the 3 points.
Let Okay,
I hear
listen.
you.
I want to get just one answer from all the people at the bottom for this.
Awesome.
Who should adapt, Man United or Chelsea in this game? Who should adapt to the
Arsenal
opposition?
won't adapt, so there's no point of asking.
Who should adapt?
But
United.
why would Chelsea?
It has to be us, of course.
Y-
We're
y-
not-
United should
I
adapt.
want because say that, Tom, again.
United should adapt, but I don't think they
All
have
right.
the players to adapt.
Okay, Rory.
Yeah. United should adapt. They'll get battered if they don't adapt, and they'll probably still lose if they do adapt.
No, but
It would be weird. It would be weird if Chelsea adapted. They're playing quite well.
Exactly. Okay.
I mean,
That's my-
Chelsea didn't adapt to the team that were top of the league, but the team that are like 14th in the league. No, now don't have a manager. That's the side they should be adapting for and changing for.
I think Man United should adapt 100%. 100%.
We all should,
The
yeah, we all-
last thing before we move on to Arsenal. It only took us an hour, 10 minutes for the people that say we only talk about Arsenal. Question for Staffy and the panel. Eriksen has been United's best player this season. So with Amorim coming in, where does he fit if he's going to play at all?
I love
Wait.
Eriksen, but
Sorry, Staffy, go on.
if I'm talking about a 31-year-old player who plays like he's 35 physically, and how does he fit in my future
Yeah.
system that I'm trying to win a league with one day, then I'm
Yes.
prioritizing the wrong thing. So that should
So
be
his
More-
position is
that-
the bench, is what you're saying.
Not even on the club. I don't think he's going to be in the club next season.
Well, presumably,
if he's not on the
what's
bench, he'll be out. Yeah.
if you don't
He's-
sign anyone, what's the midfield two going to be under Amorim?
Ugarte
If
maybe?
he
Bruno.
don't sign
Question
anyone,
mark?
I think the future is going to be Maino and Ugarte anyways.
What about Bruno? Where's Bruno going to play? Left.
No,
he's
no,
not
no,
going.
Staffy said,
Oh, wow,
no,
Staffy's
no way.
leaving.
Yeah, you guys don't know. The
Crazy.
majority of the content creators, actually, that we work with, are actually want Bruno and Rashford out of the team. They have a little bit of
Really?
more leeway for Rashford. I haven't worked with any
How
Man
does
United
Rashford
content
have more
creator.
leeway at this point?
I'm going to tell you why.
Because at the end of the day,
Because he's younger and he's from
Yeah,
United
yeah.
Academy
yeah,
and all this
United
stuff.
for-
Two
Really?
best players? Question mark.
No
Okay,
one
so
wants
let me
Bruno
tell you
in.
this.
No,
Let me
but
ask
have
you
you
guys
ever
this.
worked with Man United content creators? Only Terry.
He doesn't
likes
answer my
Bruno.
text, that's why. But let me tell you this. If
That's an
Just play.
outrageous lie, Staffy.
I've had numbers on my channel a lot. But here's no genuine question, and you don't have to answer this. Is rhetorical. If you are to rebuild a team and you need to fund money in the summer, and you need one of the biggest positions out, so you can, let's say you sell this player for, I don't know, 80 million as an example, and use this 80 million to spend on more players. Who is the most likely player that you can do this with in the summer? Bruno
I'm gonna
or probably anyone else?
Answer your
It's probably-
rhetorical question with an actual question. Do you need to raise funds? What's your financial
Once again,
situation like?
we were asking you to take our players to the Ballon d'Or ceremony. We don't have money.
But wasn't that just more for convenience than anything else?
Nobbins, they've sacked Fergie. They sacked Fergie
He
to
sacked
save
Fergie
money.
because he was
Bro,
getting
they
They
sacked
cancelled-
the guy that used to
Everybody's
wash the
washed, it's about
kids.
time.
They cancelled the
They-
Christmas dinner.
And they
Christmas-
sacked the guy that
Christmas
used to
dinner.
wash
He
the
didn't
kids
have
and clean the
enough
boots.
first aid kit to put it on Delict's head when he busted his head at Old Trafford. You know that little cap that they put when they bust their head on the pitch? They
Yet
had to send
they
him
signed
3
5
they put
players.
Vaseline on his head
I
instead
I
of a
don't
cap.
think United are in the I think United are pretty comfortable financially. I don't know where this has come from. I think they can spend a
but
lot of
in
money
a
in the
general
summer.
sense, Nobis, I'm just talking about a rebuild. Usually, when you
Sure.
start a rebuild, you don't start a rebuild with a 31-year-old. And one thing as well, I'm not gonna lie, the fact that he got his contract extended in the summer instead of renewed,
That's the
it
problem.
just it showed me that he's just here short term. They're trying to maintain some value on his contract. They don't want him to walk for free. At the same time, they don't want to upset him. They wanted to balance it, and they did the same thing with Ten Hag. You don't forget they extended him in the summer, and then they sacked him like 3 months later. The only 2 people that got extended and not renewed, extended in the summer, was Ten Hag and Bruno. And I believe one is gone, and the other one's going to be gone soon.
I'll be honest. Rashford
move
should be
to
the one that
Arsenal.
goes. Just real quick, Rashford should be the one that goes because Bruno can play multiple.
Why don't you
positions
take
in
him?
that United team.
Take Rashford left wing instead of Diaz then.
Yeah, why are you acting like that's going to ever happen? This is
Why
called
would-
the rational league, but then you're
Right,
asking
okay,
the
Mom,
scouts to
Mom,
take a Mancunian
Mom.
in his team.
Listen,
No,
there's
ignoring
four
that
rational people
problem.
here and Tom
Ignoring
Little.
that problem. Ignoring that
That's the
problem.
show.
What are you?
Who's the
Four
other
rational
irrational one?
people here and me, Rory, Nobbins, and Dan, and Tom Little. That's the show.
And I'm not rational. What am I? Am I just like
You're not yet part of the show, bro. You're not. You're just the first time.
No,
I'm
you
saying
said
it's
there's
the
four rational
dynamic
people.
of the
So what am
show,
I?
bro.
What am I
You're part, of
labeled
the,
as today?
you're part of the show
An
to me,
alien?
Staffy.
You're just an enigma, Staffy. You're just a
I'm just an
figment of our
alien.
imagination.
Welcome to the Rational League plus Tom Little plus an alien. Like and subscribe.
The first time, bro.
But-
Anyway,
but-
go ahead, Tom.
Fernandez can go into that front two behind the striker, and most likely because I don't think United are going to bat. They've got too many problems to fix all of them in one summer, and even in the short term, when you need to rest one of Mainoo or Ugarte, probably closer to Mainoo, Fernandez will drop out of that front line and drop into the midfield to him, and it won't look good. It won't look good, but that's exactly how he'll line it up, and he'll drop Fernandez into a pivot alongside whether it's Ugarte or Casemiro, and then play one of Garnacho out. Because also the fact of the matter is you've got better young attackers than Rashford. I don't necessarily think. I know Fernandez is wildly inconsistent at times, but when he's on it and when he's got a bit of confidence, he is the best player in your squad. And even if you're just going down to probably ability-wise, he's first, if not second, in that squad. You kind of, at least for the next 2 years, I'd say, need him in and around that team, because I don't know who you'd replace him with that's going to match the quality and the versatility in that way. He's not. I don't think he's the guy who will captain United to the Premier League, but he's a guy who for at least until 2026.
I think we need a different
2027.
stream to talk about.
None of the players that Man United have now are Premier League winners, caliber players. To be
Well,
honest
that's what I'm
with you,
saying. It
none.
could be like one or two max.
Zero.
Mainoo
Yes. Maybe Mainoo.
Mainoo could be there.
Maybe I believe maybe Lisandro in a back three with Delict. Maybe these guys can.
Liverpool won
can
the
be
league,
there.
and the only guy that remained from the old regime was like
Caliber.
Henderson
The
and
caliber
Rubin.
itself, like you feel like.
Whoa. That's a lie. We had James Milner, who remained from the previous regime. We had
Was he there
Roberto
before
Firmino.
Klopp? That's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lie. Klopp signed him,
He
no?
No. He was signed by
Oh.
Rodgers.
But club himself
Firmino.
is different.
Firmino was there in the old regime, which people
Really?
forget. He
Wait,
wasn't a
Firmino was signed
Guys,
by the
just
old
out
regime.
of that, just because of time, we didn't have to spend the last 10 minutes talking about Arsenal, because actually, I think it's the biggest game of the weekend.
Sorry,
I think it's the biggest
but I
game
have
of
to
the
go because
weekend.
I have to take on a
I know
work
you have
call,
to do the
so-
straight facts. Yeah.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
have to take a
Fine.
call and then go to straight facts. I'm a busy man
All
today,
right.
so
All
big
right,
up to
right.
everyone who's here. Big up to all the
Yeah,
rational
thank you.
ones. Plus,
Yeah, thank you,
plus
Steph.
Mo. You know what? Don't
That's Mo.
disrespect my boy Tom. You're the irrational one. He's the rational.
Big up's my other excluded friend. We just
Your
weren't
internet
allowed to
doesn't.
use
Your
the
internet. Your
today.
internet doesn't agree with you.
His internet let
I
him
know it
down
doesn't.
there. But big up
I know it
everyone.
No, you
doesn't.
don't. See you, Staffy.
Bye,
Cheers,
bye.
Staffy.
Yes.
By
I have
the
no
way,
idea how
Dan,
we didn't. Oh my God! Here we go.
I just
This
want to ask
Tom
Dan
guy,
for his.
man.
I just want to ask Dan for his voice filter back on because I watched the clip earlier and it was fucking
He doesn't know how.
hilarious.
I don't know what happened, Tom. I have no idea.
Gremlin got in there.
What the fuck happened to your voice?
I don't know.
earlier? Oh my god!
It only took us that
It's the
much
fact
time
you
to
only
talk
tried
about.
to tell you it was alright. It's the fact you only tried to tell you it was alright, so you keep going with it. Mo was seeing the stream fall apart in front of his face.
Bro, I thought I was a joke in the beginning, and then it
I put my
wasn't.
foot
It was,
filter on as well. We had a good time.
yeah, I thought it was a joke. Biggest game of the weekend, guys. I can't believe that we didn't talk about biggest game of the weekend because I believe it affects the title race massively, which is Arsenal versus Newcastle. More of like the riddles from Arteta in the press conference about Gabriel and Ben White, and we know that Calafiori and Odegaard are out. He confirmed that they aren't going to be actually in the squad at all. Timber's fit. That's what he said, if I'm not mistaken. Ben White and Gabriel are the people that he doesn't know if they're fit or not. I think it's going to be a tough game. I'm not sure if you're going to win the game or not.
Is it home or away?
Away.
Lunchtime kickoff.
Oh, tough
Yes,
place to go,
it's-
James.
it's a-
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
it's,
say that's going
listen, I've said that many times. These guys from Newcastle, they see Arsenal for some reason,
They hate us.
and it's just, bro, they hate Arsenal, bro.
Are
the
Arsenal
likes of-
favourites going into this, Mo?
Good question. What was out?
No, I think the most likely outcome is a draw, to be honest with you, especially if Gabriel and Ben White don't play. Because Calafiori, if Gabriel and Ben White don't play and Calafiori is out, who's the back line?
Partey, Saliba, Kivior, and Timber.
That's not great.
It's not
That's
ideal.
not great.
It did well
It's
against
not
Liverpool,
ideal.
didn't it?
It was all right, but at least against. But we had Ben White. Well, we were missing Saliba against Liverpool. We had Ben White.
If Gabriel is
So it's
fit, I think
better.
it changes everything. If Gabriel is fit, it changes
Gabriel's the
everything.
big one. Partey at
However,
right back is fine if Ben White's not available.
He's been
If
good.
you're at left centre back is dodgy.
Here is the
This is
thing about this game, guys. And okay, go ahead, Nobbins. No, go ahead.
I was also going to say that I think this is going to be a very comfortable Arsenal win. I think once again you are massively underselling Arsenal here, Mo. This is going to be like
Okay, so let me. Can I explain?
One,
Can I explain?
1-0 half time, one goal in like the 70th minute to kill it off, and
Can I explain how this game might go? The thing
Sure.
about it, Newcastle don't play on the front foot this season. They play a little bit deeper. They let the opposition have the ball, even at their ground. Newcastle are lethal in the counter-attacks with Gordon, Barnes. Even Joao Linton has been good in the counter-attacks. And of course, Isak, he's fit. Arsenal has not been good when they defended in spaces this season. It's something that they haven't done because of the circumstances, because of the 3 red cards and the teams that they played, right? So I believe Arsenal have not faced a test like this yet. And the only team that they faced like this was Aston Villa. They dominated Aston Villa. They didn't create enough chances. Aston Villa has the most 2 clear-cut chances in that game, and they didn't put them away. I believe this can be a very similar game, but I would trust Isak and Gordon more than Bailey and Watkins. Does that make sense, Nobbins? This can be exact same game as Aston Villa, but with better forwards playing for the opposition. The defense is not the same, but Newcastle, if Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali, Joao Linton are fit, and if he plays 4 in the midfield with Longstaff, that's a bank of 4, 2, back 4, and a midfield 4. And then he's leave Gordon and Isak up top. That's a lethal counter-attacking team, in my opinion. That's how I fear for Arsenal this game.
If
2-0.
Arsenal are 1-0 up, though, Newcastle
Done,
won't be
over,
able to counter
over.
attack.
Yeah. Well, City were 1-0, yeah.
No, because
Yeah, it's different.
the whole thing we're
Awesome.
operating on here is that Gabriel might not be available. If Gabriel is not available, and a large part of the set piece that goes with it, not just that Gabriel's the only guy who scores set pieces, but he drags 2 players with him because people are scared of him, which creates space for others. I think you're massively overestimating Newcastle this season. Newcastle this season have been really quite
Stinky.
disappointing. Really, I know they drew against City, but that's probably their best performance, and they capitalized on a horrendous.
So can I ask you something? Don't you think they rise against the teams that are at the top? Because they played well against City. Don't you think they rise against teams like that?
I wouldn't say they played well against City. I would say City dragged themselves down to Newcastle's level, rather
We were
than
very
Newcastle
stinky.
brought
We were
Yeah,
themselves.
but the problem is,
stinky.
but the problem is that happened. Arsenal did that at St James's Park last season as well. We got roughed up, like.
Yeah, but now,
I mean,
but you're a lot more street smart now. Annoyingly, you're a lot more street smart now. Last year, you allowed Havertz was the main one that caused that shit show with that stupid tackle he done on Longstaff, I think
Yeah.
it was, which kind of set everything off, which is the thing you don't want to do. This year, I think you're a lot more street smart about it, bar the stupid red card you keep getting. You're a lot more street smart about most things. I don't think you'd bring yourselves down to that level. And I think Newcastle this year, that same clinicalness that was there in years gone by when they played City and they drew 3-3, for example, or whatever, or last year when they scored 2-2 against City and, we're trying to hold on. That clinicalness isn't there because they're not creating the same level of chances. Their defence isn't as strong because Dan Burns at centre-back, not Botman.
Yes.
And I don't think this Newcastle team is as good as it has been. I feel like you can get at this Newcastle team, and I feel like at home there is an impetus on Newcastle to come out and put the pressure on Arsenal, which kind of plays into Arsenal's hands. And if Bukayo Saka's fit, if Martinelli's fit, if Havertz is fit, if Trossard plays, if they play that front four, they'll score at least 2. I think the thing that shocked me most about this streamer was you saying that no one goes to St James's Park in his favourites.
Yeah, because it's just a tough place to stay.
It's a tough place to go, but it's not. City, Arsenal,
not impossible to win. It's not impossible to win.
No,
but
but
I think it's one of the toughest places to play again.
It's a tough place. It's a tough place to go. I don't doubt that. But any of the teams on this panel, bar maybe Chelsea, should be going to St James's Park as the favourites, especially this season. Especially this season,
I
because
think
Newcastle aren't
Chelsea's
there.
first team go as favourites as well.
So like that's 4 teams there. I think we have this vision of what Newcastle was a couple of years ago and what it can be occasionally. But this year, I watched them at home this year. Brighton. I think Brighton only beat them 1-0, but Brighton pretty much played them off the park in terms of performance.
Newcastle missed a lot of chances in that Brighton game. Like they've
But
just not been that good in front of goal.
That's been a common thing this season with Newcastle.
Even against Chelsea midweek, their goals are from not open play created chances from them. They're from mistakes, to be completely honest.
Disasi was Newcastle's best player on Wednesday.
Newcastle have got nothing down the right-hand side at all, which I do think is hampering them a lot. And if they don't have anything going down the right-hand side against us, I think that's going to free up Timber to get forward a lot more. And our left-hand side, now that we've got Bruno in there as well, I think that's where we'll get a lot of joy. I think we'll win the game. I do think we'll win. I think the first goal is important. If we get the first goal, at that point, I'd be quite comfortable. If we don't, it will be a tough game because it will just get the crowd up and it will get the players up. It's one of those, right? Lunchtime kick. Never back the lunchtime kickoff. But
Arsenal cannot bring themselves down to Newcastle's level. Newcastle's strength at St James's Park is dragging teams down to their level, and City got sucked into that earlier this season.
Roughness fights, a lot of arguments.
Bruno went
stop and go. This guy is down.
Bruno went around throwing elbows last season and didn't get sent off.
Should have been sent off, to be honest.
This is the thing. Newcastle's game is to bring these teams down to the level, frustrate them, and wait for them to make mistakes. I think Arsenal are a lot more street smart than previous years. I think there's any team with the situations they've got this season who can go to St James's Park with that mentality. It's us and Arsenal. I think City were going off the back of losing Rodri to a season-ending injury, and this, that, and the other. Their heads were gone anyway. Arsenal and Liverpool should be going to St James's Park and not letting themselves get dragged down to Newcastle's level. And if you don't drag yourselves down to that level, the game is actually quite easy.
Rory, out of interest, how many... Oh, sorry, Tom.
It's just because if you don't let yourself get dragged down to that level, it comes down to quality. And Newcastle, I don't even think Newcastle have more quality than United. And that comes from me, who doesn't even rate United's squad. Newcastle's strength has been the intangibles. The fact they can get X amount more.
I thought their midfield and forward line are strong. It's like, anyway, like only me or maybe
they're
people
missing
understand.
a right-sided forward. I think that's a big.
Yeah, but that's how Gordon is going to play right and Harvey Barnes is going to play left. That's what they do.
Yeah, but that means Gordon's effectively a passenger, and you'd want Gordon on Partey if anything, because the one thing Diaz didn't fucking, because I went here last week, obviously. The one thing Diaz didn't do against Partey
dominating Diaz.
Yeah, because Diaz was so fucking shit and didn't try and take him 1v1. The only time he took him 1v1, he got past him. All the other times he was trying to go into a physical battle with him. Come short, receive it to feet, drive at him. But that's where Gordon's strength would be. But if he's out on the right and he's up against Timber will manage that. And I just think, look, Newcastle, for whatever reason, I think it's financial. They were at the point which Villa were at this summer. The summer before last. And for whatever reason, they just didn't take that next step. And I don't think they're going to take it this year. And then that becomes a problem. Because then you're going to, as we've seen, they start falling behind.
I actually saw news the other day that Newcastle's ownership are reducing funding as well.
Well,
it was I think it was because the Saudi Arabia said that they were reducing investment in foreign activities. Theoretically, that should make no difference to Newcastle because theoretically, Newcastle have no actual connection to the Saudi state. But yeah, I do think it's interesting because apparently they're basically...
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, man.
No, go ahead.
No, yeah, apparently Newcastle are basically still in the position where if they want it, they'll have to sell to buy if they want to invest anyway.
Yeah. Listen to Luke here, guys. Hit that like button. We still have over 700 people here, guys. We're not going to stay for long. So Dallas Square is saying, in recent years, we have struggled to play throughout the high press. I think now we're suited to play over them with Havertz, Moreno. I expect a win. Only me, I think, that thinks that the game will be tough.
Mo,
at
do you
St.
not think they're
James's.
going to be tired? Like a lot of those players played the full game against Chelsea, or majority of the minutes, and then they played again midweek. We saw Newcastle last year suffer with Champions League hangover, or the season before when they had it.
Yeah, tiredness can be a factor. Yes, I am one of these people that actually put a lot of emphasis on home grounds, especially for a team like Newcastle, not Man United, but a team like Newcastle. Yes, Arsenal the same, Liverpool the same. No matter how bad you are, the team at home have just an edge, and especially Newcastle with Arsenal, with all the circumstances that happened last year, the referee's incident, and especially with what happened last week for Arsenal against Liverpool, where Arsenal fans literally were talking about the referees and stuff. I think it will play a role in the game versus Newcastle with what happened last year with Joelinton and Gabriel and all the red cards and all the stuff. And I know that Newcastle will play on that. You know that the team will play on this aspect as well. They will put the referee to work.
Yeah, if Newcastle are going to win the game, that's how they've got to do it, isn't it?
That's what I mean. There's going to be a lot of dark arts. There's going to be a lot of defending deep, a lot of hacking, and a lot of all this stuff in the midfield from Guimaraes. Can Arsenal, as Tom said, not drag themselves into this? And the longer the game goes as 0-0, the more nervous Arsenal will be, because they know this, the consequences of not winning the game, especially going away to Chelsea the game after. They would want to win this game, because they don't want to go to Chelsea 6 or 7 or 8 points behind Man City. You know what I mean? That is a big deal.
We need to beat Chelsea and Newcastle. We need to beat both.
Exactly. And that is why I think Arsenal will be way more nervous than Newcastle in this game.
I don't think our players get nervous now, though, really. I think our players, if you look at the big away games that we play now, when was the last time we turned up? Bournemouth away is not a big away game. That was a different style of game. But big away games, when was the last time? Literally, you have to go back 12 months to when we played away at Newcastle, played away at Villa last December and performed badly. But other than that, realistically, we've gone to Villa and won this year. We went to Spurs and won this year. We've gone to City and drawn twice. These big, it's almost like the team actually thrives on these big away games now. They seem to enjoy it. So I'm not worried about that side of the game. I'm more worried about the fact it's an early kickoff.
Are you concerned, Rory, with your performances?
Nah.
Do you think they're just not at the level they might have been last season because of injuries? Do you think once you get your full squad back?
I think the context of the way that we've played most games, it's either been a red card in the game or there's been players injured. And even first half against Liverpool, I thought we were excellent. And considering we was missing Saliba, still missing Ødegaard. I mean, until Ødegaard comes back, I kind of I don't, because we haven't had a replacement for Ødegaard. We get Leandro Trossard's doing it. It's not even close to replicating what Ødegaard does. So yeah, I'm not too bothered. For me at this point, it's just all about accumulating points by hook or by crook. And then after the next international break, in theory, if there are no more injuries, we should be close to full fitness and have the real key players back. Then I'm expecting us to go, and we've got quite a nice set of fixtures throughout December and January. At that point, I'm kind of expecting us to go on a big run and playing nice football.
Last super chat, City fan is saying, if I beat the Cherries by 2 goals, the league is done. I said the same. If City win the next 2 games in the league with all these injuries, and if Arsenal don't win one of either, they have to win both.
Hello.
Tommy's feeling left out.
What happens if Liverpool win their games and then beat City and whenever they play?
I still think Liverpool. I think it's going to be done for Arsenal, to be honest with you, Rory. If you're 10 points behind City by this international break,
that wouldn't mean the league's done. We're still there.
Yeah, I still think you are there. I think Liverpool are there.
We got Brighton on the weekend.
You definitely don't.
Get past them. No, because this is the thing.
Mo does not rate Liverpool.
Mo does not rate Liverpool.
Hold on. Who said that Mo doesn't rate Liverpool? Do you know I'm called the gas? You know I'm called the gaslighter of Liverpool, right? Because I tell them to have chest all the time.
Yeah, but you definitely don't think that Liverpool are going to be in the title race.
No, I think they will. The problem is I think they can stay there. It's all about the injuries. I believe if Salah and Van Dijk get injured, especially watching Kwanzaa and Gomez in that last game. If Van Dijk is out,
no. Let's
they
not
are
really
finished.
let's not really that they were sound up until Quanta passed it back to fucking whoever in the last 10 minutes, and then Quanta's head went. Gomez was actually all right all game. And yes, if you take out a team's two best players, they kind of struggle. Who would have fucking thought? No, my point is, I don't know City's next 3 games. I know they've got Bournemouth away,
Spurs, I think, is the third one.
Spurs at home after the
Premier.
international break. Hopefully,
And then
Kevin will be
Bournemouth
back
away,
by then.
Brighton away, Spurs at home.
Right, okay, so we've got Brighton at home, then we've got Villa away, and then we've got Southampton away. If City drop points in those next 2 games, because I think we play City at home.
Yeah.
Yes. In the
Yes.
next, the third game coming, yes.
That'll be a game where you find out more. But I think it's important to not take us out of the run here, because we are. I mean, fucking hell. But last year we would have lost that Arsenal game. Last year we wouldn't have beaten Chelsea. Like, we are a much more, the term's not mature, much more sensible team in nature, and I think that's going to lead to a lot closer of a season and a lot more of a sustained charge this season, because towards the back end of last year we were goosed. This year we haven't even got out of third gear, and we've also got and had some injuries to contend with as well. So I think you've got to make sure that we remain in those conversations. That being said, don't mention us at all, because we're not there yet. First season under the new manager.
We'll see how it goes. But I believe it's going to be a very exciting Arsenal Newcastle, to be honest. A lot of people saying it's going to be boring. I think it's going to be fantastic. Man United, Chelsea. I think that we got fantastic 4 games, to be honest.
Tottenham Villa 5 is a good one as well.
That is going to be an amazing, phenomenal game, to be honest. I'm not sure if any game is played at the same time, but I'm looking forward to it.
It's just that one.
What's the most? I put a poll. What's the most exciting game you guys think this weekend from the 5 games?
Bundesliga, Leverkusen, Stuttgart.
I'll tell you now what I think the most exciting game is.
I think Chelsea. I think
Chelsea United. It's got to be Chelsea United.
I think it is going to be. I think it's going to be.
Could end up in a shit game.
Yes, I'm going to go for Southampton, Everton.
It's a relegation battle. 6-pointer.
That or Ipswich Leicester. Ipswich Leicester.
You know, Everton are not going to get relegated, Tom.
I know, it's actually quite sad.
Okay, big up everybody that is here. I just want to get a shout out to Errol again. Errol, do you guys know?
Good
Errol
shout, Jacob, as well. Wolves Palace. Wolves Palace is another one. Really good game, that one.
Good, yeah. You guys see Errol live when his nephew came on the City game?
Yeah. Big up to Errol.
It's fantastic, actually. Big up to Errol. You don't know that, Nobens? Do you know Errol?
No.
That does work with Dan Potts. Yeah, the Liverpool fan, Scouser.
I don't think so.
His nephew is the left back that came for you the other day. His brother's
What was his
son.
name?
Oh, Simpson Boozy.
Yes, that's his brother's son.
Oh, so cool.
Cool.
Yeah. And he was live doing a watch along for the Liverpool game, and he stopped the watch along to shout out his nephew when he came on the pitch.
Sick.
It was so cool, to be honest.
You look good, by the way. I thought you looked quite decent.
Yeah. All right, good. Uchi, Gabriel, and White trained today. They are fit. Good to know then.
So I'll tell you what, this has been some injury crisis for Arsenal. This some injury crisis when everyone's just fucking fit next game.
But this has been the thing. Other than Erdegaard, no one's had like a really long-term injury. It's just been every week. It's like you lose a couple of players for another couple of weeks, and I think it's just the fact that we've just not been able to get any sort of momentum with a squad going. Oh, there were some games where we were literally missing like 7 or 8 players, which was problematic.
After City's injuries, nobody should complain. No one.
People are going to see that.
They got the biggest wage bill in the league.
Yeah.
People
What do you mean? Because of
if
their
we're going to play that
good.
game, we also have one of the smallest squads. Let's not get weird about
that's
it.
your gamble to take. This pisses me off because everyone goes, "Oh, they've only got 11 fit players." Yeah, because they got one of the smallest squads in the league, despite having the biggest wage bill, because they gamble on paying loads of wages to a small number of players rather than spreading those wages out and having a bigger squad. You want to take that risk? Deal with.
They have one of the
consequences.
biggest squads they had under Pep Guardiola this season.
And yet
They had one of the biggest squads,
got-
guys. They
they
had
got-
one of the biggest squads in terms of numbers this season, Rory.
I don't think they did.
How many senior players do Arsenal have, by the way?
I don't know. 21, I think.
Well,
That
since
might
you've got
be less
23,
than
so
3,
you're
yeah.
saying that it's as weird. gamble is you've sort of outed
But I'm
yourself.
not
That's what I'm
complaining
saying.
about the size
That's
of
what I
Arsenal's
said.
squad. I'm not complaining about the size of Arsenal's squad.
I'm not
Plus,
complaining about it either. I'm just bringing it up.
We also have the terminally ill. Like we're carrying Tomiyasu. We're carrying
Terminally ill.
Kieran
Terminally
Tierney.
ill.
You know, they technically
I
count.
think
I think
the
United might have the terminally ill. Mate.
Realistically,
Luke
I
Shaw,
think
Malacia, Ericsson thrown into the mix. Now Mazraoui. Like
the worst Arsenal have had realistically in one game has been 3 players, hasn't it? If we're talking about actual players, hasn't it been 3 due to injury?
No, it's been 5 or 6. But the problem is it kept happening
Who are
to
the
the same.
6? Who are the 6?
Top- Well, because we had
Actual
Gabriel.
players, don't give me Tomiyasu. If I'm not counting Kyle Walker, you can't say Tomiyasu or Kieran
No, but-
Tierney. Give me
Well, I can, because
actual
they're the players
players.
that
Kieran Tierney, it's crazy in
actual players.
2024. Kieran Tierney.
You know what? No, we'll draw the line. You can have Tomiyasu, but you're not having Tierney.
You can't have
You tried to
Tierney,
ship
bro.
him out for 4
Tierney,
years.
no.
Huh.
Tierney.
Kieran Tierney is
Who are these
player.
players? Because as far as I could tell, it was one week it was Erdegaard, it was Calafiori, and it was, I think, one other player.
So even against Bournemouth, we were missing Timber.
For injury, yeah.
Yeah,
Timber.
we're missing Timber, Tomiyasu,
I'm not counting
who
Tomiyasu.
does count because he'd be the first choice replacement. So we're missing Timber, we're missing Tomiyasu, we're missing Erdegaard, we were missing Saka, we were missing Martinelli. So that's 5.
Against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Martinelli fucking played.
Didn't
Well,
he
he came on
miss the
as a
chance?
He came on as a sub. Yeah, but he came on as a sub
So
because he was
Rory,
injured.
he played.
But he shouldn't have
So he
done.
wasn't injured, he was on the bench.
No,
What are we
he
doing
was.
here?
He was because he only came on because
If he
we were
came on,
desperate
he's
for the
not
pace.
injured. Like, what
No,
are we doing?
but
This
he
is mental.
He's carrying a calf problem, and
He's on the bench, Rory. No, he does not count. So your grand total, the
Okay, so
biggest amount
Saka-
is 4, including Tomiyasu. So 3 and a
That
quarter.
might not be the biggest. That was just the first example I could.
Right, well,
bring
let's
up.
give another one. And please, this time, pick examples where they
Well,
aren't on the sodding starting 11 or on
Well,
the
I can't
bench.
necessarily remember. I mean, Southampton.
probably
We were
ones where they
missing-
didn't make an appearance. Rory.
Southampton, we were missing Timber, White, Marino, Martinelli. I don't think he was on the bench.
Don't think-
No,
don't-
Martinelli wasn't on the bench.
Against Southampton.
Right, okay. So that's
Did
3.
Martinelli score against Southampton? Or
Yeah,
is
he
that
was
the
on the
game
bench.
after?
There's definitely. I can't remember when it was in the season.
So we've just established the worst, the most in the trenches you've been
No,
this
we
season
have-
is 3.
Nah.
Rory, just out of interest,
Nah.
you know when a player.
Okay, hold on. Have another shot.
Well, I can't remember the games, but we've definitely been missing. Earlier in the
I've
season,
got
we
the
were
time
missing
today. I've got the
Calafiori,
time. I will wait.
Marino.
Review.
Well, there was a period where we were missing Calafiori, Marino, Erdegaard, Tomiyasu, Tierney. These are big numbers.
Listen
Rory,
to
do you
it. You just
think-
added
Rory?
Tomiyasu and Tierney.
We've also had 3 games where we've been missing a player through suspension. So that's an
Right, so,
additional player.
which is
No, they're not our
an
fault, though, are
Arsenal
they?
problem.
No, that's a referee.
If Saliba makes a silly you can't count. Oh, we were missing Saliba, so woe is us. Like that's
I
Saliba's
can.
problem, isn't it?
Well, no,
It sounds
Rory,
like the
do
worst
you,
you've
Rory,
done
do you
is
think your
3.
physio
Darren Hewitt's problem.
celebrates every time a player returns to the pitch? Like your set
Yeah.
piece coach?
Yeah, probably. Probably stands there and does the Bellingham.
If we are doing context, I will go back to the Arsenal game last week. We had more injuries than Arsenal.
No, you didn't.
Really?
That's a
No,
lie.
you didn't.
On foot mob, they definitely did, but I don't know how accurate that is.
On
So-
Portmore.
Yeah.
So
What it's
last
worth.
game. Last game,
Yeah.
and I'm not counting who went off in the game. Just pure starting 11 wise, before those who got injured during the game, you had no Tomiyasu, no Odegaard, no Calafiori. That's 3. I'm not counting Saliba because he was suspended. It's not an injury.
Indeed.
We
Kieran Tierney.
had no Allison.
Tierney.
You're not
No
including
Conor
Tierney.
Bradley.
We had no Alisson.
You're going to include
No
Conor
Bradley.
But he is
Well, Kieran Tierney.
he's more important than Tomiyasu for the
If we're
team.
including
He
Tomiyasu,
is
we're
literally-
including bloody Bradley.
Okay, Rory,
Well,
he
no, I'm
literally
including
is
Tierney.
more important than Tomiyasu for Liverpool.
How many minutes has he even played this season?
Conor Bradley has played-
How many did he play last season?
He was on loan.
Oh wow, crucial player to
Conor
Arsenal. That's
Bradley's-
unreal.
Rory, we're not doing
Conor
this, Rory.
Bradley starts.
I'll keep doing it. You're probably going to name. I mean, your internet's given up on life, but you're probably going to name Chiesa. Doesn't count.
Yeah.
Not even sure he's a real player.
Jota, Harvey Elliott, Conor Bradley, Alisson Becker, Federico Chiesa were out. For Arsenal, it was Kieran Tierney, Calafiori, and Martin Odegaard. So you basically had 2 injuries. They had, I'm going to say, 4 injuries. Jota, Elliott, Bradley, Alisson Becker.
No. And by the end of the game, we'd also lost Gabriel and Timber.
That I say unlucky. That's very unlucky.
Yeah, I agree.
And they're back straight away, aren't they? Isn't Gabriel back for the next game?
No, the next game was Preston and Gabriel didn't play.
We cornered you, Rory.
You think
This injury thing.
You think Gabriel would have played against Preston? The mighty
But
Preston North End. It's
it's
not
also-
1899 anymore. They aren't
As
a good
I was
team.
saying, though, it's also more the fact that it's been every single game. It's been like 3, 4, 5 injuries.
Hold on. I want to do this in a different way, guys.
You've not
Guys,
been
a different way.
able to
I was going to end the
establish
show.
one time it's been 5 injuries. That's the issue here.
I did.
No, I think the weight of the injury matters. Do we believe that Odegaard's injury is the same weight as Rodri's injury? I think so.
Yes.
I think so, right? Doku, Savinho, Grealish injured. I know we have to end the show as well. So Doku, I actually have Dan in 2 minutes. Potts. Doku, Savinho, Grealish are injured. Is that by itself equals if Trossard, Martinelli, for example, and Saka injured? Basically, that's what it is. Or Havertz. I don't think Arsenal have this at all. I don't think Arsenal have this. Anyway, this is a crisis for City. The difference is City, everyone can play.
I want to finish my point now. My internet's working.
I really, you can have the show yourself.
We had 5 injuries that day. We had no Alisson, no Conor Bradley, no Jota, no Harvey Elliott, and no Chiesa.
Chiesa doesn't exist. I'll give you Jota and Alisson.
And yet you're including Kieran Tierney, who hasn't played since about 1812.
Hold on. Are you not giving me Elliott?
No.
What?
No,
What? You don't want to include Tomiyasu, who is just a rotational defender.
I will give you Tomiyasu. My main issue is Tierney, to be honest.
Yeah, but that's because you disrespect Kieran Tierney. And that's just because you hate Scottish people, which I think is wrong.
When was the last time Kieran Tierney played in the Premier League?
Oh, really?
Exactly.
Jesus.
Exactly.
Been exposed. Crazy.
Guys, listen. This has been a fantastic and a great show. Great day of show for Staffy as well. A lot of good talk with Dan Nobbins. Yeah, very, very good show. Rory today, 6:30 UK time, where he's going to be happy with the injuries that are back with Gabriel and Calafiori. Tom Little is going to be live sometime talking about the Brighton game. Nobbins, what do you got coming up?
The analysis videos will return this weekend. I've got something in the works in the background. It'll hopefully be very exciting.
I need you to do 4 games this weekend. Arsenal, Newcastle, Chelsea, Man United, City, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Brighton.
That is literally not going to happen.
3.
Although with what I've got in the works, it might be a lot easier to do that.
All right. Okay. We're excited. And then, what do you got coming up?
Lots of things.
He figured out how to turn it back on.
He figured it out.
I did, yeah. I realised there was a button actually that I'd accidentally pressed. But yeah, on my channel, Chelsea review, previews, all that sort of stuff.
Please do the entire next National League in that voice, please, please.
If you win, I'm gonna bring Staffy on, and you have to do the whole show with that sound. Big up everybody that is here. Thank you guys so much. This will take you to Football Terrace, where it's going to be Staffy, Don, and Lawless. That is going to be a hilarious show. We'll see you guys soon. We're out of here. Hit that like button before you go. Subscribe to the channel. We're out of here, people.